Let's talk to David in California. David, you're live with Eric and Morgan. Eric and Owen. Sorry, Owen.
No, you're good.
Hey,
David?
how are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing well. What did you want to talk about today?
So I guess I have a question for you guys. I called a couple of weeks ago and talked with V and Katie Montgomery, and my question was about determinism, and I guess I was wondering your thoughts on it, because I feel like there is different levels of cognition where we can kind of, like, there are things that are, you know, I guess determined because of the way that our brain works, but I feel like maybe we can stop that by making a choice to guide the path that is determined, if you know what I mean. I can break it down more if you'd like, if you...
So let's make sure that the audience is following along with us. So we're talking about free will at this point, right?
Yes.
We're talking about whether or not somebody has the free will to make decisions moving forward. And so there's the idea that we're meat robots. We have no choice, and that our brains are just reacting to and moving through the world. And there's this libertarian free will idea that a lot of people have, that we are conscious actors that are making decisions, and that's kind of shaping the direction of things. And so when you say that there's some, but we can still make some choices, where are you drawing that line?
Okay, so do you know, like, about neuroscience and how when you have a decision you're going to supposedly make, like, your brain fires in different ways, and like your brain works in associations. Like, they have a saying, like, what fires together wires together. And so when you make a decision, there's other parts of your brain that are associated with that like light up with more potential than other places. And so that, like, draws a line in your brain, like the wiring to, that's probably where you're going to make that next decision. But I brought up the example last time. I find myself getting mad over small things, but while I'm getting mad, I recognize that, that's probably just my brain going in that, deterministic arc. But I stop myself and I say, no, I want to try and reassociate it with other things to help rewire my brain to go associate with a more productive path than getting angry, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Did you have the choice to do that?
I mean, I feel like I do, because
But if you hadn't been exposed to those ideas and, the idea of rewiring your brain, would you have made the choice to do that?
Wow. Yeah. I don't know.
Here, let me throw something at you and kind of think about it from this perspective. When you roll dice, the chances that you're going to roll all sixes 10,000 times in a row is low, right? It's a predictability and a probability type of situation. With brains, it doesn't mean that you don't have the free choice to make a decision necessarily with the determinism thing. It means that when people are placed in specific situations, there will be predictable outcomes, right? When we place 10,000 people in a situation where, they're standing on a street corner and they have a choice to go left or they have the choice to go right, we can determine based on their life experiences and if every variable is accounted for, we can figure out where they would go. We can figure out which direction they would go. And it's about predictability and probability, not necessarily saying you don't have the free choice for this to happen or for this to play out this way. It's just statistically speaking, we know that we can apply probability statistics to this situation, right? Am I making sense? Does that add up, Eric?
Yeah, no.
It does, and it takes me right to a place that I wind up going all of the time, and so now I kind of want to pick both of your brains. So it sounds like we're talking about randomness and the odds of something happening given the random nature of certain events. Would you call randomness free will? Does that create space for any kind of free will?
I wouldn't say I'm talking about randomness. I'm actually saying that I am like recognizing that something it has been going this way in the past. I recognize that probabilistically people are going to go right or left. Which one are they probably going to do more? And I say, well, I can understand that that's where it's going to go, but I want to choose that I want to go left because I feel like that's a better path, with me going to try and not be angry versus having something anger me.
Sure.
I don't know.
It's a hard question that people have been deliberating over for a very long time. And, I've struggled with that myself in the past, trying to figure out where like the free will line is. But ultimately, I've always said free will is a religious concept rather than a scientific concept. So, we have the option of making choices, but there's a beeping in the background. Apologize. My coffee maker telling me to get it before it goes cold. We have the option of making free choices, but from a scientific perspective, we can look at a set of data and see that people generally in this situation, with all of these variables accounted for, they will make this decision instead of that decision. I think the whole bit with free will is only important for statistics and data, really, more than, the way you live your life. I don't think it really applies on that level as well.
But it does in as much as so. And I know a lot of people might be wondering, why are you guys talking about free will so much? Well, because I don't know, David, based off of what you were talking, about in your example, it sounded like you were saying that it helps you cope sometimes, right? That you have free will, and so we take that abstract concept of free will, and now we're applying it. When we apply it, we're talking about how responsible am I for myself? Should I feel guilty and shameful about the things that I've done or the things that I will do? And if everything is predetermined, right? If everything is just dominoes lined up to knock each other down, then is there any point in trying to better yourself? Right. And those are all the kinds of things that we find ourselves wrapped up in. And ultimately, I gotta tell you, is that where you were kind of going, or what you were kind of associating with the conversation?
I guess maybe kind of. I feel like I feel like I want there to be free will because I want to be able to improve myself. Like I
Sure.
definitely am always trying to improve myself and look at things differently and question my beliefs and try to come to as much truth as possible. So
Well,
I'd like to be able to think that I could control that, but maybe not.
But if that's the case, I don't want. What I suggest is that you don't value it any lower if that's not the case, because we find ourselves at a point where, okay, we don't know if there's free will, right? So you're trying to better yourself already, which means whether or not you had that free will, that is what you're doing. And so if you didn't have free will, it's not like you wouldn't be doing what you're doing already. You're just, the best advice I can give with that in mind is expose yourself to as many new ideas as you can, and do your best to evaluate those things, to have a broader understanding of the world around you, because the more you do that, the more context you're going to have, so that whether or not you have free will, you can make those better informed decisions.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I do have one more question for you regarding the whole free will thing. Can you raise your left hand for me? Did you raise your left
Yes, I
hand?
did.
Was that a free choice that you made? Did you have the option to not raise your left hand if I, like, did you have the choice to refuse me?
I could have, yes. I mean,
If we look at the statistics and the data shows that you were likely to raise your left hand because you were asked to, and a number of other factors, but you didn't have to.
Yeah.
That was an option that you chose. So the data shows free will doesn't actually exist, but in practice, we have choices to make. We do live our lives as though free will does exist, but the data reflects that once the variables are accounted for, ultimately, people's lives are very predictable and people's decisions are very predictable, right?
Yeah, I guess that's how mentalism comes about and stuff like that.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
Although not to deter you from trying the latter, if you did fully accept that we don't have free will, there's a beautiful nihilism. There's an amazing absurdism to be found on the other side of it that is also comforting. And I'm speaking from the other side of it. So it may seem scary to jump in that pool, but if that's where you're looking, don't worry. Give it a shot.
Oh, I'm not scared. I just enjoy, thinking about these things. I feel like I am probably in the same camp as you, but I like thinking about it.
Oh, rock on. Well, we appreciate your call.
I appreciate what you guys do. Like, I love you. All of you, and everything that you guys do. So thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for watching.
Take care, man.